Good day and welcome to the Boom Bar on Boom Radio NG. My name is Sola Rogers.
And my name is Ola Delpa. You know, the one and only. I'm here again. I'm here. I'm here like I never left. Anyway, with your warm welcome to the bar this very interesting afternoon. If you're just joining us for the very, very first time, welcome. It is the bar where we bring you everything that has to do with sports, entertainment, news, politics, and literally everything else in between. Everything else in between can be anything, as the spirit leads. Wherever it takes us, we go. But definitely we're going to be talking about a few things this very interesting Monday afternoon. We're going to be talking about... Get away.
You're live.
Yeah. So
do we get an apology? Me, the listeners, and the viewers. So when a pop-up comes up on your screen, it's getaway that you say.
Actually,
can the pop-up hear you?
I actually do it a lot. Anyway, so basically, there are going to be a lot of things we're going to be talking about today. There's news from the presidency. A lot more people are, there's a lot of gist. There's also the angle of a lot of, what's the word now? Flooding that is looming. There's a story of that. We're definitely going to be looking at that. It's something that we definitely need to look into. It's going to be a major thing. So that and a few other things are things that we're going to be dealing with this very, very interesting afternoon. So, like I said, there's a story of the states being now. Remember I think that it was last year that it became like really national news. We know that there were always these things from time to time, but we never really used to what's the word now? Hear what causes these things. But last year I think we finally got like insight on what there was always this flood that always happened around this time of the year, virtually between September and October for the last couple of years. And now finally last year there was news, it became national news that there was flooding was caused by the opening of a dam, a Lagdo dam, all the way from Cameroon.
What a name, self.
All the way from Cameroon. And, of course, this caused a lot and came as far as Lagos State got affected by this.
Yeah, it was a national disaster, just to put it mildly.
Yes, it was. I remember in 2019 when that happened, there was conversation. Now they're saying that during that time there was even no notification at all. I also saw the head of an agency. I think it was an interview. I'm not sure if it was yesterday or this morning, but I saw it today, where he was talking about how they only got information from Cameroon 7 days after they already started releasing water from the dam. And these are things that, as of now, talking with NEMA is now announcing about how there's going to be about 13 states that are going to be involved.
Yeah, because we know that the Benue River will be receiving all this water majorly. Mm-hmm. And you know that the Benue flows to the confluence where it meets with the River Niger.
Yeah.
Then it goes all the way down through the delta, and all the tributaries and all the arteries and everything
north,
that carry water
south,
majorly to the south, you get. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Delta State, Bayelsa, in the flow of this river. And
Adamawa, talking about Taraba, Benue, Kogi, the Niger Delta, like you talked about, and even some states in the southwest.
This is an aside, excuse me. Just while we started, Bukola Ajiboye joined us. We're going to be addressing cameras at some point to bring her on. I think you should move closer to this mic. You should move closer to it instead. Yeah, sorry. Okay. that this is an aside, talking about River Benue and River Niger. Why is the river still called River Niger after the two met at the confluence? Was there a meeting somewhere and the two rivers...
But there is a River Benue as well. So why was it not changed too?
Okay, Dolupo. Let me start again.
Okay.
Benue flows from the eastern part of Nigeria.
Yeah.
Niger flows from the western part of Nigeria. They meet at the confluence.
Yeah.
Then there's a bridge that is being built across from Delta State to Anambra, and they are calling it a bridge over River Niger. What happened to the River Benue that's part of the water?
Wait.
Is it fair on River Benue?
Wait. The question is, because there's a confluence in Kogi State, is it the Benue River coming from?
They both meet. Can't you even in our coat of arms?
And they meet in Kogi State. They don't meet across the second Niger bridge.
Okay, so wait again. You don't get it, and I'm going to say it the third time. River Benue flows from the east. River Niger flows from the west. Everybody keeps saying River Niger is what empties itself into the lagoon.
Yeah.
Where is River Benue?
It's probably going somewhere else.
No, it is part of it. It met at the confluence.
One is bigger than the other. End of story.
Who made it bigger?
See. I don't know.
I said
I didn't even do
anyway.
Geography.
Look,
I'm that bad, so I'm the wrongest.
I shall say my own that rivers, waters matters too. I should start a hashtag.
Please
River,
don't.
River
Please
Benue,
don't. Please don't.
Water matters too. Something that will let people understand the plight of River Benue.
No.
How can River Benue be overshadowed by River Niger? I don't think it's fair.
Oh Jesus! Why are we talking about this?
What else were we discussing again? I said it was an aside. It's a food for thought. It's something that we need to look at.
No, we don't.
We need to name
No,
the lower part Benue Niger. Niger
No,
Benue.
we don't. No, we
Or
don't.
Ben Nile.
No, we don't.
Benny.
Oh Jesus!
Niben. Nibes. Okay. While we're trying to create a brand that will be suitable to all, that will be all encompassing, that will not, cheat the good people of Benue and Benue waters, we should really consider a permanent solution to the issue of dams and waters being released from outside Nigeria and the flow of the rivers. River Niger traverses several countries, and the Niger Republic, they've started building their own dam, and again, what that basically means is that this kind of scenario will play out. Now, the good thing about the River Niger is that we already have the Niger Dam. There's a dam somewhere in Niger State that, of course, receives this water that flows from the Benue. So that's a good thing. That's a very good thing. However, I'm not sure it will be enough by the time these flows begin, because we don't know the way they're going to correct these things and they're going to put it out. That's one. Water coming from Cameroon is not a new thing. How come in 2023, Nigeria is still talking about a solution to something that I'm sure science would have provided an answer? How about building your own dam to receive water that they are bringing? How about some kind of circular system, that allows you, to take the water and send it to smaller dams and all of that? Because we know that damming a river is not only about irrigation, it's also about hydroelectricity, but it's also about water safety, and it's also about, controlling floods and all of that. If you take all of these things into cognizance, at some point in time, you would realize that apart from the low-hanging fruits, which always happen, or the mid-term and short-term goals, we should be able to get permanent solutions. We shouldn't, in 2023, look, last year, President Buhari made a pronouncement, they must find a solution to this thing. I need answers. Have they really started anything? It's 1 year after. Has anything been done? Does anybody know?
Okay, so my question is, there are a few things that maybe we need to talk about when it comes to these things. And the thing is that my number one question will be, I know that there was conversation, yes, like you said, that they should find a permanent solution to it. And I remember there was conversations of how Nigeria should have built a dam and all that and all that. And there's now also the conversation of, to me, because it looks like they're trying to pass the ball, that they didn't tell them about this dam opening thing early enough. But even if they are told you early enough, do you have a solution?
Maybe apart from asking people to leave the floodplains and brace themselves
But
for
on the other
effects.
side, of it, just random questions. On the other side of this conversation is that even if we go through other countries, there are a lot of other countries that are dealing with a lot of floods and all that. Are we ever really going to stop seeing this kind of floods?
Okay, let's circle back a bit, or let us go back to the beginning. The thing is that we must not rule out the effects of global warming.
Yeah, exactly.
And the rising water levels. We must not rule that out. We are not an island. I wish we were one island that was elevated above everybody and we'd be immune to flooding, but we are not. There are parts of Nigeria that are even below sea level. Facts.
You know one very interesting thing?
Yeah.
I remember primary school and secondary school in social sciences and, not social sciences, integrated science and all that. And then, I think social studies. And we hear this the phrase riverine areas. Yeah? Why was it that Lagos was never added to riverine areas?
They didn't?
No.
Maybe your teacher.
It was always the the Niger Delta, a bit of the eastern part. You never really heard Southwest being a riverine area. But if we want to understand what riverine area is, Lagos State is the definition of riverine area.
They don't call it the state of aquatic splendor for nothing. Look, we're bordered by water.
I don't know what exactly
as much as we're bordered
by
land.
I don't know what they were thinking, because I'm just saying
why is even? I get that part, but
maybe there will be a lot more awareness, because I see a lot of these things. Take for example, before even the flood, this impending flood, little rainfalls. I think we should be way past the step where little rainfalls, especially if you're in places there's some places in Lekki, and one little rain and then the whole place is right almost underwater. Yeah. If we can't even sort the issues, those little issues, what now happens when the dam is coming and you can't even regulate and say, okay, this is the amount of water they're releasing?
Let's quickly talk about Lekki that you talked about. For those of you who do not understand, there's a part of Lagos, eyebrow part of Lagos, that is not too far from is it sea or ocean now? Whatever. And of course, it's very expensive, but it's a flood prone. It's flood prone. It's a flood-prone part of Lagos, and it's one of the areas that are seemingly below sea level. Some parts of Lagos Island, yes, they are kind of close to it. But this is it. When you drive along that entire Lekki Expressway, how many bridges do you drive across? None. Not one. Except you get to Ajah, and that bridge is not over water. It's like a ramp for traffic control. How do you expect storm and flood water to get into the sea? Because that's where it was going naturally before you started building houses there. How does water get there? It doesn't. So it is stored in the ground. There's water there already. It's waterlogged. Then the rain comes. What do you think? It's going to trigger it and bring it out. So what they failed to do when they were selling their Lekki is that they should have built canals, man-made canals that would naturally take water out normally. Now look at the purpose-built, man-made Atlantic City, or what's that place called again? The one in Victoria. Eco Atlantic. It has several canals. It's so well planned. Have you heard about flooding in that place? And it's smack dab on the edge of the water there. Do you know why? Because it's properly planned. So why come Lekki doesn't have those kind of canals? I'm not talking about the canals or gutters within Lekki. I'm talking about that will take flood water, that will take storm water, take water from the ground and everywhere straight into the sea or ocean. You see, Sola did not have to study geography to know these things, did he? No, he didn't. So these are the issues we have when we have government that do not pay attention to detail, and they're all, IGR is high. We get it. IGR is fantastic. Lagos, Kudus, Ekushe. But the truth is, at some point, you will have to revert to some of these things that we're talking about here as solutions. Because what you are looking for is a solution.
Yeah.
What we're talking about is a solution. It's not just to criticize. That's why the Boomba is different. We will criticize.
So according
but we
to
will prefer solutions.
the federal government here, they're saying that hopefully that there will not be as much damage as it was. Why? Because they're talking about how they're already building a dam in Adamawa State.
Okay. So they started some serious work.
So they started some serious work.
But dams do not
former
get ready.
President Buhari's proclamation was not just talk.
Okay. I'm happy that you brought this up. And it's obvious that the dam is not ready.
Yeah.
It's not ready. So again, we have to be realistic. It doesn't take 12 months to build big dams. It takes longer. So I get that. But why only Adamawa? The flood affects other parts of Nigeria.
If it's coming from that side, yeah, Cameroon is very.
Will it be able to contain everything?
Maybe. Oh, all right. That makes sense.
We're talking about volume here. We're talking about water. Look, at this point, I like to bring Bukola in.
Okay, so following the case issue of floods, beyond the issue of the opening of the Lagdo Dam, we've had problems with flooding since the year 2012. That's connected to even the Lagdo dams, and that's 13 years of consistent flooding, Lagos inclusive.
Yeah.
Now, with the Lagdo dams being opened, or the states that have been warned, Adamawa, Taraba, Benue, they are in the north central part of Nigeria. We're now looking down at demographics. Now, when we begin to look at demographics, Anambra, southeast, we look at Delta, Bayelsa rivers and Cross rivers, which is in the south-south. So you're looking at 3 demographic areas that will be affected with flooding. Now, look at the core concern for me. We're looking at the health implications with this flooding.
Yeah.
No one is talking about that.
Yes.
And that means that flood waters will take through swamp waters, sewage. It will break through a lot of the septic tanks. So the health implication is
last year, cemeteries were dislodged.
Yeah, cemeteries were bodies were just floating everywhere. So how do you even account for the dead? For now, we don't even have a follow-up story about that.
None.
So the health implication is there. There's likely to be an outburst of waterborne diseases.
Yeah.
So what's the health
plan
for that? Okay. How about feeding? Because Adamawa, Taraba, Benue is the food basket of the country. Yeah. So you look at a lot of people go into markets. Adamawa, Taraba actually are about the highest producers of beans,
people's farms and all that.
So a lot of farmlands will be washed away. So we're looking
on
at
the matter of farmlands. I just want to quickly chip in so that you don't lose. I want you to continue. Last year's harvest was affected by
the flood.
Yeah.
And we're feeling the effect now. And there's another one coming. So back to you.
With the present economic situation crunch that we're facing, so we know that they're
probably going to get worse.
Yes, it's going it will get worse.
It will.
So what's the plan? Contingent plan for that? Because we have to be able to foresee. That's the problem. The average human being. I will not limit that to Nigeria alone. It's a global thing. Sometimes an ability to preempt problems that helps. Can be caused by any devastation. So we're looking at health implications, increase in waterborne diseases, increase in poor sewage disposal. Where is people living around this demographic area?
There's going to be a lot of displacement.
So displacement. So where are they going to go?
Where they're going to go.
How are you going to handle the volume of refugees, forced refugees?
Yeah, sadly, education.
Education as well. Health, education, housing, a lot of things will be displaced. We're looking at Anambra, southeast, southwest, south area. Okay, so a lot of wild animals will be released. Remember when Lagos was flooded?
Please, I need you to move.
Just
move the microphone towards you.
To you.
Okay. Remember when Lagos?
He moves, yeah.
Remember when Lagos was flooded the other time? I think 2005, 2006, thereabouts, where we had rainfall of 7 days in one day. Most of Lagos was submerged. I hear that it went as far as Ikeja City Mall, where the rush of water, people were running away from the volume, the rush of water. So imagine that kind of volume affecting all these demographics. So what is the government going to do about that? We just heard a warning. We're not seeing a preemptive plan to the outcome of this flooding. And it's important that we do so, because let's not fool ourselves that all these demographic areas are just the only places that will be affected.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
There will be a fallout. Remember, the Kara Bridge access, there's usually, once it's flooded, the Valley Opic Estate gets flooded as well. So Lagos too is sitting on a time bomb.
Ikorodu feels the
Ikorodu,
pain.
yeah.
Lagos Island, at some parts of Yaba, they start to feel it.
You see it, Ogudu, gets it.
Surulere.
So it's not even just the island part of it. There's a large chunk of...
Excuse me.
Yeah.
When we're seeing this, we're concerned more about not just notifying us. What is the contingency plan? Because if you have a contingency plan as per feeding, do you even know the population of all these areas? So you can make a preemptive plan that, okay, let's say 18 million people within these demographic areas will be displaced. Provision for healthcare, makeshift tents and shanties with housing.
Yeah.
What's the healthcare plan?
I think at this point,
What's the feeding plan?
there's a minister for humanitarian affairs right now.
What are the plans?
So
what are the plans that they put in place?
What the plans, at least, because the question would have been, okay, there's nobody to oversee those things. At least now there is a minister. So we will definitely see in the next couple of days, we should be able to see a plan. And like you said, I think that that's the problem we see a lot with us in Nigeria and a lot of other places, that a lot of African countries. And the problem is that we're very reactionary. Those things should have been, especially with the kind of flood that's happened in the last couple of years. We shouldn't be talking about this anymore.
This is from 2012 to 2023.
11 years.
11 years, which should have given us enough stats.
Yes, I remember. I remember that there was this was a couple of years ago. This was in Ibadan. There was some major flooding. It's not even up to 2 years, about 6-7 years ago. Major flooding. And I remember how the then governor, he's late now, there was the issue of making a dam. There was the damming the Ogunpa River and all that. And that singular act had stopped flooding up until now, at least in the past couple of years. Even with all this water, it has really not affected, just because of one singular act of saying that, okay, how do we channel this water? It is not making sense. It's not, you don't just make something because flooding of, I grew up in Ibadan, of Ogunpa River was a thing you grew up with.
Oh yeah, there's a song now that a lot of artists, Ebenezer Obey and a couple of them actually released to commiserate with people.
The LA River overflowing. You know? Those are things that you literally grew up with.
So,
one person taking the bull by the horn, I'm like, this thing has to stop.
So while we are focusing all our energy on the government and what they should do, we should also focus on the citizenry, Nigerians, and what they should do or shouldn't do. One of the things that causes this problem is the way we build in floodplains. We knowingly go and build on river banks and floodplains and all of that. Now, it's not an excuse. Ignorance is not an excuse. The first process is that before you buy land, you're supposed to research. You're supposed to go to lands ministry and find out what type of property you are trying to buy into. We don't do due diligence.
May I shock you?
Yeah.
Do we have personnel in such ministries who I'm not saying they're not adept to understanding their role of office. Some of them just got into that place because...
True.
Yeah, I think it still goes back to the government.
To be honest, you go to such places, you should have a map plan layout.
And then by the time you are coming to get what's it called? When you check the town planning and check what's the English now? The thing you're supposed to get
a
C of O and all that, you should be able to see that, okay, this land I'm about to acquire is not supposed to be.
So,
and then the government.
So most of the lands that are encumbered like that, you won't get a CFO for it. That's one.
Yeah.
That's one.
And then we don't ask questions as individuals.
No, other than that, the one I'm even looking at is that the people that the government, so-called government agencies, it looks like it's only when they're about to collect money they realize that they need to check.
That's it. So I get that part of it, but again, I'm going to revert to what I said because it's the right way to do things. It would be better for you to have said that I did go to the ministry, but I didn't get the information, and I still went ahead to buy the land because they didn't give me information. There was nobody on seat, or there was no information, and I bought the land. Now they're saying it's a, God forbid, they're saying it's a floodplain or flood-prone part of the state. Do you understand? As against not going because you think the system is bad. Do you get? It's two different things.
But it's still the same thing at the end of the day, because
not.
if you don't get...
So you have a case in court. You can actually, like,
Okay.
look, I went there, look at the form that I filled on this day and this day and this day. I tried to get the thing done the right way.
But you know that even if you go to court, the minute you do not get issued a C of O, then you as a person should know that there's a problem somewhere.
You see, no, you don't. CFO doesn't come at the start. Some people don't even get CFO after they build their houses.
True.
The CFO is just some finality. Do you get? There's the mapping that is done for lands.
Yeah.
Those are the things that you should be concerned about. Like, basically, I'm saying get information. Your realtor has the right information because they have access to the people in the lands department and the lands ministry. There are places where you should not even think of buying land, not to talk of renting houses or apartments.
Yeah.
So these are the things that I am really harping on. Reason why I'm saying it is that, okay, for instance, there's something called a setback law. Mm-hmm. For the highway, for trunk A roads, the freeways, Lagos, Ibadan, the Kaduna, Kano, and all of those roads, the Port Harcourt road.
Yeah, the federal government roads.
Those roads, there's something called a setback. That means that within, I think, 60 or 120 meters, depending on where, you're not supposed to construct anything. But, you see, we don't observe those things. Then we go and buy land and build and do everything. Then the day they finally have change, they have change and they say they want to expand road, you say they should compensate you.
My problem
and they will tell you
that,
they will not compensate you.
This is where my problem lies, is the fact that, there are setbacks everywhere. It was a few years ago I knew that even with, it's not just the road, the sea, even rail, there are setbacks everywhere. And even on your regular road in your village, you have to have a setback. I get it. But the fact is that what the agencies that are supposed to be monitoring these things, that's where my issue comes from.
Okay.
You should not, the minute you see, some people literally get paid to make sure those things shouldn't be there.
This is utopia. This is normal. This is the right thing. That there are agencies. But I am telling you now that it's better that you self-regulate yourself. It's better that you look out for yourself. Because when push comes to shove, you will be the one to bear the brunt. Recently, houses were demolished in Oworoshoki.
Yeah.
And, there was a lot of hue and cry. The bottom line, those houses are gone.
We're not supposed to be there.
They are gone.
That's what I'm saying.
But they compensated.
They can't be.
They won't be because those houses are not supposed to be there in the first place.
You were not supposed to build in the first place.
That's where my question comes from, because I feel that this is waste of resources.
Whose resources? Who's wasting it? It's the people who are building.
On the side of the people, on the side of the government. Why I said so is, number one, this is resources that, from the side of people, houses that have wasted now. On the side of the government, it is still waste of resources trying to pull down those things that should never have been there.
Okay.
Because if you had done your job and made sure those structures were never there, you are literally wasting taxpayers' money.
Okay, so check this out. Now check this out. I'm going to tell you a story about, there's a place called Akongba in Surulere. It is a substation. Mm-hmm. It's a power generating substation in Lagos, Nigeria. You can Google it, Akongba.
Yeah.
Now, Akongba is so big that the back of Akongba is on Adelabu Street in Surulere. Opposite it is the NEPA training school.
Yeah.
I think they converted it to an hotel now or something, but it's still there. And NEPA quarters beside it, and there's Fountain School. Then in front of it is Aguda. That's how big Akongba is. A few years ago, we were at the NEPA training school for an event, and we saw a task force. Guess what? People live inside that power plant.
Yeah.
A power generating plant that requires some kind of safety movement around. People live there. There's an entire village of people there, living there.
Now get to somewhere the suburbs of Ijuishaga.
Yeah.
Go further down, there's a place called Power Line where you see high tension wire towering over. People are building houses
directly
That's
underneath.
my question.
directly.
That's
underneath.
my question.
And
See,
people have there's even a village of people like you said, and you're wondering.
you know, the funny thing is that I get it. Maybe the way
Nigeria
my
is
mind,
magnetic. You're
maybe
living practically under a magnetic field of electricity.
No.
One wrong spark.
my issue with that, it happens everywhere. It happens everywhere, and that's the sad part. My question with that all the time is that why are you even allowing people start it at all? He said there's a task force that will now chase people away.
No.
If
So
there
wait up.
was
So hold up.
task force in the first place.
Wait. Just give me a second. Now on Adelabu Street, the same Adelabu, the fence is wire gauze, barbed wire. So the whole length and breadth of that part of Akongba, people had makeshift shops. It started from one guy who was a shoemaker.
Yeah.
Then he started building some kind of wooden structure and zinc and aluminum, and before you know it, there's a market
There's
there.
a market there, yeah.
And that market led to an entire village living inside Akongba. This is what I want to say. We keep saying who allowed or who didn't allow. Let us talk about how is it illiterate we are to the point where we do not care about our own safety. That because they looked the other way. You know the sad part? Some member of staff might be collecting rent from those people.
Oh, naturally.
Yeah.
At the National Stadium, Surulere, as abandoned as it is, I was on a team with one of the political appointees then. We were invited to join him because that's what they do when they become minister. They must go and inspect stadium because they don't know what they are doing. But it's a story for another day. And we got there. And in the dressing room, that stadium has been abandoned for years. The dressing room is actually on the ground. Those days, we used to clap for the players when they are walking out from the dressing room. There are people living there. There are people living inside the dressing room of the National Stadium. There are beds there, there are TVs there with remote control and everything. The scoreboard, there are people living inside the scoreboard. Say that Sola Rogers has lied to the world on we can't say on internet TV and internet radio. There are people living in those places. How do you climb up the scoreboard that high every day of your life?
See,
All in the name of what exactly?
see.
So
Personally,
they do not have. This is it. Government does not have the type of technology in place or personnel in place to stop all of these people from doing these things. But you see, 90% of the work should have been done from when your parents were raising you and from when they were teaching you in school. Trust me.
We also have a national orientation.
We have a big problem there.
You know, people
But
say.
let me tell you something about the National Orientation Agency. For a period of time, they've been having issues with funding.
They're not functional in my dictionary.
No, she has an angle. Let's add the
Okay.
They're
angle.
having issues with funding because you see, if the national
Even the government doesn't
Orientation
take them
Agency,
serious.
They don't take them serious because one thing is, for us, the kind of leaders we produce, they come from us.
Yeah.
Now, if we're not self-regulating people, self-regulation in terms of health, self-regulation in terms of security, you produce the likes of us to government, they will not take people like NOA serious.
They won't.
When they say, look,
We
People living
we
in a
need
scoreboard.
X billion.
Exactly. To at least begin to teach people,
Sensitize
not
them.
to sensitize people, not to litter the floor, the ground, not to dump refuse in the rivers, not to do this.
But do you also think that I personally feel, maybe it's just my own personal opinion, I personally feel that 90%, no, let me say 90, about 70% of Nigerians are badly behaved.
I don't agree with your
high
number of badly behaved
Do I
Nigerians.
need National Orientation Agency to tell me that I'm not supposed to litter the floor?
You'll be shocked about the number of adults who actually throw refuse from their cars.
That's what I'm saying, because they are badly behaved.
Okay, so how do we correct
How do you
that?
measure badly behavior? Bad behavior. How do you measure bad
By
behavior?
sending people to jail.
You want to send everyone to jail? Your jails are already full.
Build more
And
jails.
half of the people there have not even committed a crime,
build more
or
jails.
they have spent
But
they have
what
spent
will you
longer
people-
than they should
Yeah.
if they had committed a
start
crime.
fining everybody and you use all your salary to start paying fines, people would have sense.
I do
Because
agree.
I feel that
So-
people
so-
are
so-
badly behaved.
So we cannot have a single approach. It has to be multi-pronged. Let there be fines in place, like you said. Let there be punishment, and let there also be encouragement. Let there be, awards and basically a multi-pronged approach. But I'm saying over and over again that we can't always hinge it on why did government allow you. Let me give you another instance. There was a time when if you drop or I light from a bus or a car along Lagos Ikorodu Road, the length and breadth of Ikorodu Road, if you are going to cross the express, which you shouldn't, from Anthony, Pangrove, Onikpan, those three bus stops.
Falano,
Not the Bagada side, though.
Falamo,
The
what's
Ikorodu.
Fadri, Far something, I can't remember.
So the Ikorodu part
That
of it,
Ikorodu part of the road.
Anthony bus stop. I'm being specific
Yes.
now. Anthony bus stop.
Palm Grove,
Then the next bus stop is Pangrove.
Yes.
Then there's Onikpan.
Onikpan, yes.
It's those three bus stops. So I'm not going to talk about the ones after. But you see those three bus stops.
Once you
There
cross,
was a time when you
you're
cross and you're crossing to this side here, to the side of leaving Lagos and all of that. You're going to be arrested by a task force. They have buses
What
parked.
happened to those
they
task
have buses.
You're crossing right into your jail.
But wait, they have buses parked there, and they have members of their staff with policemen just looking around, acting unconcerned. They are waiting for you to cross successfully. If you do not get knocked down by a vehicle, when you cross to that side of the road, you get arrested by these people. They take you to the local government in Shomolu, and they read you your rights or not, and immediately you are fined and put in jail until you can pay that fine.
Exactly.
Now, that's good, right? It's not. You see, you don't have to be punitive all the time. Those people's job is more about IGR than about saving lives.
But you think that if
I'm not done.
2-3 times you've been caught there, something common sense will
But-
tell you that
but
I will not do it
My
again.
approach is to prevent them from crossing.
Okay, let's look at.
Listen, Buki.
How did
I'm
that
coming.
change?
I'm
How-
coming.
Okay.
My approach is prevent them from crossing. How do you do that? You see those men that you have on that side? Let them be on this side of the road. Say, don't cross. Put the sign there boldly. Do not cross.
You
If
think that some
I'm
Nigerians are
coming
still
now.
not terrible?
I'm coming now. I am coming now. I'm coming. Don't cross. If you cross, you might get killed. If you don't get killed, you will be arrested. If you are arrested, you will pay XYZ jail, or you will be jailed for 3 months. There are actually laws and bylaws about it. But you hide and let them risk their lives, then survive whatever they survive, then you find them. The same way, don't worry, just chill. Your turn will come. There are parts of Shomolu and Lekki that are one way. In Nigeria, one way means that you shouldn't turn into a certain place because you're not supposed to. There are cars coming out from there. And I can tell you about there's a particular part of Lekki, not far from Mobile filling station, where the sign is after the junction,
And not before.
not before.
They are good. They are plenty in Yaba.
So as soon as you turn into that road, you get arrested. Do you understand what I'm saying here? I'm saying that even if in bringing punitive measures, you must at first have warned people adequately and educated them and informed them. Then when they decide to be as obstinate as you say 50 or 70 or 80% of them are, then you can now punish. But in not even letting people know, look, there are things that at times you have to wake people up to it.
That there are overhead bridges and people still decide.
I had a friend. In fact, it's not one friend.
Anyway.
When people ride with me in my car, and maybe we're eating or drinking something in the car, and you want to wind down, and I'm like, you can't do that. He said, you want to? No, throw it in my car. He said, I don't want your car is clear. No, throw it in my car. Drop that bottle in my car. Drop that piece of paper inside my car. When we get to where we're going, we will trash it. And these are people who are educated.
Doesn't make them less bad behaved.
Exactly. So I'm saying at times it takes a lot of effort. You know, please use hand sanitizers. But there was a time I still carry them about.
Belt up. Oh, yeah.
Use your belt.
Yeah, this goes to mothers. There are a lot of mothers putting their children
in the front seat.
The boy is even standing. And she's driving unconcerned.
Yes.
Or fathers. I've seen fathers.
And these are educated people.
Well-mannered.
Educated. No, they are not well-mannered.
Wait.
No, it's supposed to be.
You know, by Nigerian parlance.
No, they're not well-mannered.
And then you're trying to correct that. Look, this is dangerous.
Then they will do so
Here's
too.
another thing. Our approach to self-regulating community, sense of community. Like, if you even apply that or less punitive measure, do you also know the people who will tell you to mind your business?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes.
I've been told that more than once.
Sola Rogers says spot
we do
on.
not respect
We don't. We don't.
Sense of community.
We don't.
We don't want you to be dead. We don't want you dead.
Oh,
we want you safe.
A woman told me once.
With this warning,
I told her, Madam, you can't put this baby in front. She said, how is it your business? How does it concern me? I mean, I just did what? I minded my business.
Exactly. So, sorry. There's quite a lot of things. Oh my God, we do not have a lot of time anymore. Anyway, quickly, a specific lawmaker from Abia State, House Honorable Amobi Ogah has pleaded with President Tinubu to release Nnamdi Kanu as a gift to the people of the southeastern Nigeria. I don't understand it, so I will just keep quiet.
Maybe Buki does.
Neither do.
Okay, so me, I don't do, but I'm going to say something about it. If we really want the country that we say we want, we must respect laws and we must allow the court do their job. However, I am not sure that based on the allegations that have been placed in front of Mr. Nnamdi Kanu, that the president has the fiat or the executive powers to release him.
I don't even get the idea why, because this is something that we've been hearing for last couple of months, how they should release him. If they release him, there will be peace in the southeast. And I'm like, isn't that counterproductive? So you're saying that it is because he's arrested, that's why there's unrest. Isn't that just terrorism? That doesn't make any sense. Anyway.
And again, we should be careful because there are precedents that you don't want to set.
Yeah, exactly. It just doesn't make any sense.
I just have my concerns about the southeast and the connection of Nnamdi Kanu, the IPOB and all that. My concern is the southeast is the bedrock of when you talk about innovativeness, the business acumen and all that. And I'm looking at, if you're a country, Nigeria, that has to deal with IGRs, internally generated revenues in every community, every geopolitical zone, we should really be worried if there's so much unrest in that demographic area. And if it has to do with people coming to reality that why is there a kind of a persistent unrest? I won't call it civil unrest, but an internal focused unrest, deliberately so. Forgive me, but that's how I see it.
Yes,
because
I think
there is no way you can
There's
tell me that the area market that used to be the beehive of business is so silent now. And then you're focused on releasing somebody. Does it have a connection to what's happening to the
Then there's a problem somewhere.
If it is not, then why is the focus
why
on
is that conversation
more
there
than dealing with the
problem,
the real issue, the fundamental issue in the southeast? this is Nigeria. There are different interests in ensuring that Nigeria does not remain one and the same. I assure you of that.
Oh, yeah.
But we as the people must ask ourselves, do we want this to continue?
Yeah, it's a very interesting,
very good
pertinent
Do we want this to continue?
Yeah.
If that's the case, then be my guess.
Anyway, now still talking about the president. We know that the first Federal Executive Council meeting was held today. I don't know if it's still ongoing, but it was held today. It was supposed to be last week Wednesday. It was conversation about how it was moved to today because the new ministers were supposed to get acclimatized with the ministries and all. Now, there's been a conversation that has popped up from that, or a resolution, as President Bola Tinubu has directed the Federal Ministry of Foreign Affairs to discontinue the processing of visas for all government officials seeking to travel for the United Nations General Assembly. Now, he is saying that in the light of reducing the cost of governance, any government official that is not directly involved in or is not directly participating in the UNGA's official schedule of activities is not going anywhere.
Yeah, it's a good one. One of the things that people need to realize about these foreign trips, that it's not just about the free flight on Air Force One or whatever the president's plane is called. It's not just that. It's not the prestige alone of being received at the airport as diplomats and everything, and the accommodation. No, it's the ESTA code. It's the ESTA code. You know, if you fellow Nigeria, you people don't know the grammar. You don't understand the grammar of ESTA code. You see, because when they get the ESTA code, it's bing bing like that.
That's
you know, it's
it.
jigim. So they get paid some ESTA code, which is money, in the foreign naira, which is Dolupo. And before you know it, someone comes back from a 5-day
And then they're
trip.
going.
I can't give a report.
Which report? Did they go? Is that why they went there?
The PA of the PA of the PA of the PA. You know, and like we have hundreds of people going now. The president has said, if anybody is not,
You go too far. Let's even go to sports, supporters clubs.
oh god, oh god,
Don't get me started.
please.
Don't get me started.
They're talking about UN, and then wait.
Anyway, Sha, some people's what's it called now? Hopes have been dashed, and they do not seem
But
to be
it's
great.
it's until they actually go for this United Nations meeting before I will believe these things.
Oh yeah.
We'll see the number of people going.
Nigeria.
It's a good pronouncement. Well done, sir.
We'll see
We're
where
waiting,
it goes.
sir.
Yeah.
Atik Bonnie, but Agba.
Anyway,
Which is no way.
quickly, now the Police Service Commission has this afternoon ordered 4 deputy inspectors general of police to immediately retire from the Nigeria Police Force. Now, the story behind it is that they are the same set with the new acting Inspector General of Police, and the PSC is saying that they should have retired immediately.
It's a standard practice, actually.
And they're wondering why
What
this
they are waiting
is
for.
Dan Malam Muhammad, Moses Jibito, Hafiz Inuwa, and Adeleke Bode were supposed to have voluntarily retired in line with the tradition of the Nigeria Police Force.
Yeah, but it's
And
something.
they refused to do
It's
so.
what they signed up for. It's standard practice. They know these things. Last year, a video went almost viral of some police officer that should have left a particular place,
And was hanged out of
they had to basically drag him out.
So now they're saying that they are compulsorily retiring them to uphold discipline and discourage status reversal.
Yeah, that's good.
Dolupo, you know what that is? Remember Game of Thrones? Winter has come.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
And they're not really.
Yes,
they're
sir.
not
But
ready.
I think that's very embarrassing.
Yeah.
If you cannot,
but you had to wait for them.
you
to
have
tell
to wait for them to tell you. I don't think it makes any sense really.
My sister.
What were they hoping for?
What
now?
were they hoping for?
But the thing is, with the present economic cash crunch,
It's not just
So all the crunching that they have been crunching since,
for a retared DIG. I don't think those people are broke.
they can't be now. Let's not go
For a
there, sir.
DIG, I think that is embarrassing that you're going to end your career to See,
By being dragged.
begged.
by being dragged,
You're begged to
literally.
Oh, what do you want?
But
Like,
then
they
again,
dragged them.
this is a call to reality for any career person. Most times, people who are forced to retire still live in that age-old thinking that you need to spend like 30, 35 years because you're aiming for a pension, and you get to hear that in the civil service.
But
Now-
in the
But
military
in the
and the
military,
paramilitary
please,
is different.
They're
I
different.
know it's different, but you know that
There are no
some
excuses.
but you know that some still have the mindset of the civil service, depending on whether.
Shame on whoever has spent X number of years. You
yeah.
got to the rank of a DIG because you know why? Some people actually leave.
Leave for you to get to
For
that
you to
point.
get there.
We all know that.
And it wasn't 35
We all
years
know
yet.
that
I'm not
DIG
excusing-
is.
I'm not excusing, but I'm just.
I know you're explaining it.
The
You're not
reality-
holding brief for anybody.
At all.
You're
But
not.
The
I get it.
reality is that this is a wake-up call. Because truly, if you rose to the rank of DIG, what stops you from not having a training center, creating security?
You
training
can
centers
become a
for the
security
citizenry?
consultant. There's so many
Become
things you can do.
A consultant for schools, for hotels, for homes. I mean, you can be a consultant.
I
for
think the
security
problem
for
is that is the lack of
shelters.
creativity. Because, like you said, it is
By the way-
is the civil service mentality. Like it is this office, and then they don't branch out. They don't do anything else. That's
blame
why
them for
you see
branching
them.
out.
That's why you see a lot of even civil servants. They're fighting to hold on to that post
that
because
is
they have
why-
nothing else to
That
do.
is why we need to change the entire educational structure in Nigeria. We need to move from that training that you give people to look for blue collar, white collar, or whatever collar jobs to creating wealth.
Yeah.
For themselves, even if you are
Skill up
you,
from
even
the
if
schools.
You are a 9 to 5.
Oh, yeah.
There's a way you can bring your creativity to the melting
Oh, yeah.
pot.
Yeah.
Work,
You skill up, man.
And you make things a lot different. But here again, you cannot enjoy that when most of your boss still has a civil service mentality.
Yeah.
That's it. That's it.
Someone will come and say you're trying to outshine
You're doing too much.
Because I can
Yeah.
tell you this, the police force should have changed in structure. I passed the police staff college the other time, and I looked, grass overgrown, some places looking really unkept. Where they stay does not even look habitable,
Yeah.
just grey and blackish. How do you expect such people to think
Be
about
innovative, yeah.
And to be honest, for us, most of the time in our community, we weren't raised with empathy. Empathy, it doesn't naturally come.
Come
We are
to
community
us,
people,
yeah.
yes. We care about each other when it comes to care. I mean, if Nigerians are on your matter for a good cause, I assure you,
Yeah.
they'll bring the world to your doorstep. But then it's coming from a place of, this is from the unusual.
Yeah.
We have to bring it to the usual
Usual, the
sense.
thing that we do every day.
Our first thought when we're going out is not to get a Roger. First thought as a policeman, if I am a policeman, is to see
How am I helping people?
Who am I helping? How am I making sure crime does not happen in my vicinity? Can I prosecute the man who raped a little girl and say it's a family matter?
Yeah.
Am I interested in ensuring that schools are secure? Remember some years back where I think they were trying to arrest the downfall driver or something, and he ran into a school compound and police officers were shooting in a school.
Yeah.
You did not even
Think.
that a stray bullet could hit a child, and of course, some kids were killed.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Thankfully, none happened this time. It happened at another time, but you didn't even think about it. So empathy should drive us first of all.
Yeah, I think that
Because
that's
if
it.
empathy drives us truly, you see those the DIGs, they don't need to be forced.
They
out.
don't
By
need
then
to
they
be-
should have. You should have even mentioned.
I
that
just
it's
think
10
it's
people under-
ridiculous. I just think it's ridiculous.
Well, you need to be professional when you are in the military or paramilitary. In the army, all the people that had to resigned without
They
being told.
resigned.
In the Navy and the Air Force, the same
And
thing
this
happened.
is the problem that happens,
So-
and then people not saying that you're comparing the military to the police. Can't you people just do it? Anyway, quickly before we go, there's this conversation where SERAP, the Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, has asked President Tinubu to immediately reverse the unlawful ban of 25 journalists and media houses that were barred from covering the presidential villa and restore their accreditation. So there was a letter signed and it was said that there were about 25 journalists, and include those from Vanguard, Galaxy TV, Ben TV, MITV, ITV, Abuja, Prompt News, Liberty TV, and On TV, where they were literally barred and their accreditation was taken off to not cover Aso Rock. So now SERAP is saying that they're giving the president 48 hours to reverse. But there's a lot of...
There's a contradiction in that statement. You are asking him to use his good office, and you're also giving him an ultimatum. I think that's not in good light. I like what SERAP tries to do, but you cannot actually give him 48 hours. That's one. Two, we need to find out. We are journalists, and we know that it takes a lot to get accredited to cover such bits.
Events, yeah.
So we need to find out why were they not renewed, or why were their accreditations recalled. There must be a reason for it. And these are some of the things that you need to do. Do your research first. Find out. It's not necessarily because they don't like their faces.
Yeah, I
there
think
might be.
that...
There has to be a reason. Now, when we now find out that it was just done on a whim, that's when you can now start coming to say this is wrong. And
yeah, I agree with you. And the truth is that this is not even holding brief for the government or anything. But in the last couple of months or last couple of years, we have seen journalism take a very interesting turn. And we've seen a lot of ridiculousness. That's the truth.
Tell me about it.
We've seen a lot of ridiculousness. So that, because of that reason alone, we now need to actually ask the question, why was this done? I cannot categorically say now, because of where we are in the media and what is happening in the media space, you cannot categorically fight for any media house anymore. Because you don't know what people churn out, God knows what, all in the name of putting out stories. So maybe it should start from what happened. Then, because before, I think you can regularly say, maybe they're witch hunting some people and all that, or they're not letting them do their job, or freedom of... But the idea of this freedom of press, or freedom of expression, people have taken it to all levels, and people will do all sorts of sales. Yeah.
Where even in churning news, we do not fact check.
Exactly.
And some bloggers will just post anything, and then you're wondering what's going on.
What exactly is going on?
Check. You just create all kind of stories to attract traffic, to get people talking. There's some responsible headlines that you should put. Information management, of course, is another thing. For the journalist, you need to know how to inform in an ethical manner. And
because exactly.
Just one headline could cause chaos.
That's where I'm going to.
Another reason why. I mean, you may not have been, given an invitation or invite, because some people have done their findings about your organization.
Yeah, and they're not
fact check. You're not responsible with the dispensing information. You create unnecessary cause and tension for Nigerians. And this, us Nigerians, we run. Look at what happened to Steve and Marjorie.
Yeah, Harvey.
Steve Harvey. It turned out to be a hoax, but
fake news.
Most news parties.
They ran with it now.
They ran with it, yeah.
So it took an individual, not a news organization, an individual to go checking foreign blogs. It was not there.
Mm-hmm.
Only blogs that were just for gossip and just for
that's the problem now. That's where we are. We are at the place where the citizen journalist is now even setting the pace. There's nothing wrong with having citizen journalists, but they have not learned enough the power that they wield.
That's exactly where my own issue is.
And the mainstream media is not helping themselves.
They're not helping.
Leading up to the inauguration of President Tinubu, a guy that cracks a lot of jokes on social media created a Photoshop of an invite, the sitting arrangement, and an invite that had been allegedly or seemingly or claimed to have been sent to Peter Obi and Atiku, and where they were going to sit during the inauguration. It was done as a joke, and Nigerian media houses
picked it up as a story,
and made a story out of it.
But if it were the person who did it as a joke, did he sit down to think of the implications?
I don't blame him.
You know why I will not blame him?
It's the editor that allowed you to publish that story.
They picked it up, and then you did not go and check the source. That's where Anybody can put anything out.
Anybody can write anything. So you are supposed to be trained. You're supposed to be professional, and your source is social media. It's social media.
Oh, we see it a lot.
So you get something that's supposed to be an official release, and it's not from the I said White House. It's not from Aso Rock. It's not from the CPS. It's not from any of those people, and you published it.
Published it, exactly. It's a very,
and once
very
you
sad
publish
system.
it, guess what? All the other blogs will take it and they will run with it.
Yeah.
Because they don't write, they just copy and paste.
We really have a lot of stories to do, but unfortunately, our time is up, and that is all we'll be able to take today on The Bar. Thank you for listening. Thank you very, very, very much for watching. We will be back again at 3 p.m. West African time tomorrow to give you another wonderful edition of The Bar. Do have a beautiful, beautiful day ahead.